Let's talk about the Cowboys. They've been in headlines this offseason for all the wrong reasons. To be honest, did not make any moves in free agency. They did some
Got back
stuff in the
Zeke.
draft.
They got back Zeke.
Anyways, is this a make or break season for the Cowboys this year? Would you say, Q? I'm starting with Q again because
It's fine.
No, a
it's
make
not.
or break.
It's
You
not.
would have to be expecting something different than what they already been giving you, and they're not going to really do much different than they already been giving you. So I don't think it's a make or break. They're not going to suddenly make the Super Bowl and everything's going to be all peachy key. The roster is essentially the same, and other teams got better. I don't think they got worse. That's like a common misconception that people are saying because they lost Tyron Smith, which is cool, but you drafted his replacement. And if anything is anything in Dallas, they know how to develop O-line. The same issues Tyler Guy had coming out of college, Tyler Smith had. They went to the same school, they played together. If they can make Tyler Smith an All-Pro, who was raw and couldn't really play the position, they could do the same thing with Tyler Guy. Same thing with Cooper Beebe. They lost a O-lineman that they developed themselves, who was pretty average, and they drafted a better prospect, and they're gonna do the same thing with him. So their O-line issues is not really a thing. Running back is cool, but Tony Pollard averaged 55 yards a game. You could replace that. If we're gonna act like you can't replace 55 yards a game from a running back, we acting silly.
Tony Pollard killed my fantasy team, man. He killed my shit.
I still think that having a mediocre running game when you have your only real weapon as being Ceedee Lamb in the passing game is not ideal.
Yeah, it ain't an ideal, and it wasn't ideal last year. And last year they had the number one offense in the league with the same mediocre running game and the one weapon. So people say
and they lost in the first round.
That means nothing because you're going to talk about something in the playoffs that doesn't really matter because it's going to be the same outcome again. But through 17 games with that one weapon and Dak Prescott, they're going to put out a top 5 offense, and that's just what's going to be. They're going to beat up on the division. They're going to go 500 out of the division, win 10, 12 games, and either win a first round matchup or lose in the divisional. Same thing, just like happened last year. The talent is pretty much the same. The linebackers were never that good. They replaced bad linebackers with okay linebackers. They get an all-pro cornerback, They get another cornerback that they signed, that they've been had, Jordan Lewis, who's cool in the slot. They drafted a corner, and they get to put DeRon Bland, who really isn't that good, but he's great at, getting turnovers. You put him back in the slot where he belongs, and he could get turnovers from there because he's going to be around the football. You get your safeties back. Your defense is pretty much the same as it was last year. Offense is pretty much the same as it was last year. And you go out, you're going to win 10 to 12 games. They're going to lose in the playoffs, and everybody's going to make jokes again. It's not a make-or-break year. They're just either going to lose Dak or they're going to end up paying all three of them top of the league money. It is what it is.
Next, make a break season. Make a break season, man.
I thought there was like something about they were close to getting a contract done with Ceedee and Dak. So I guess we'll see about that. But in my opinion, I agree with Q. I really don't think it's a make or break season, especially because I think they're going to sign Dak and I think they're going to sign Ceedee. So this is just going to keep on being this same vicious cycle, regardless of kind of whatever pieces you put around them. You'll have an offense that can get touchdowns and put points on the board. When push comes to shove, I don't think the team's going to be good enough to win playoff games down the stretch. So, yeah, you can beat up on the Giants and you can beat up on the Commanders, twice, 4 times a year. You can maybe beat the Eagles one time on a Monday night game and it gets everyone hyped up.
I'm going to stop you right there. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. It's not a maybe beat the Eagles.
Okay, beat them once.
They go 5-1 every single year.
Like you said, it really doesn't mean much how you get there.
Hold on. This is why I'm a Cowboys fan, because I'm correcting people when they say that outlandish maybe beat the Eagles. Like they don't beat the Eagles every year. Like they don't beat in the NFC East every single year, regardless of what you think about that.
It's the same thing we just talked. So I don't remember. The Eagles and the Cowboys did play in the playoffs like 2 years ago, right? No. When the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, did they play in the playoffs when they went to the Super Bowl? Okay, that's what I'm saying. I thought they did. Regardless, it's like you can do whatever in the regular season, the same thing is going to be the same output in the postseason. And that's just like that. I think being a Bears fan and being like at this mediocrity of 8-8, like it's hell. And I think it sucks. But I almost think that like where Cowboys fans are might be borderline worse of like, you have these high expectations and you can't say maybe this year, but in years past, I feel like every Cowboys fan, oh, it's our year. It's our year, right? You hear it from people. You hear from whatever, because especially on like the big time ESPN, Sports Centers, whatever, they got to talk about the Cowboys. And Cowboys fans want to hear it, that this is their year, and it never is. And I don't see it becoming their year unless they place more pieces around it or Dak can finally put something together in the playoffs. And like it really just like, I don't know, they've switched coaches, they switched quarterbacks, they switched receivers, they've switched like, I don't know what else there really is to do in Dallas to kind of switch the momentum of this team. So as far as a make or break season, no, because I think I agree with Q. I think they'll get 10, 11 wins. And I think next year, maybe they get 9, but then the next year they get 12 or 13. And then the next year, and it's just a vicious cycle. And I think the farthest they'll make it is maybe win another playoff game.
Like crazy. When the last time they won 9 games?
I'm just saying, I don't remember, but if you gotta, you honestly think they're, do you think they're keeping all 3 guys? Are they paying all 3 guys? Are you paying Micah, Ceedee, and Dak? Because if you're not paying all 3 of those guys, I think going down 1 game next year is not crazy.
You could pay if you have Dak, you could be without Micah and they still could win 10, 11 games. You just can't be without Dak and then win 10, 11 games.
I'm taking one. I think CeeDee's the same way too. I'm sorry. I think Ceedee definitely helps that team.
CeeDee no matter what's going to stay because you need a number 1 wide receiver. That's not a – but
last time they won 9 games was 2020.
They got 2 years of Micah left. Micah's not going to just sit
out.
How many
games did they play in 2020 though? Is that a full – he said last time they won 9 games was 2020.
They went 8-8 in 2020.
2020, they went 8-8.
I think Dak might have missed time though that year.
It was some weird. I thought 2020 was a weird year. Regardless, though, like I don't think it's crazy to say that Micah gives you 1 less loss. Micah's a top 3 defender, top 5 defensive lineman in the league. If not, some people it's 1. So, I
don't know, man.
I don't think it's crazy.
I think they've had teams that they have. I think they've had teams to go further in the playoffs than they.
Like, that should go further. That should go further. You're saying,
like.
Sure.
They've had the teams. They've had
expectations. Yes, I agree.
Every team that they've had that's been good, when they got to the playoffs, they played a better team.
Yes, that's cool. But those players performed good enough in the moment to go further. And what happened? We know what happened.
They lost to a better team.
Dak folded. That team played up to par with the other team, and Dak folded. In 2020, what was that? 2020.
Here's the thing with speaking in hindsight. You could say anything you want in hindsight because you already know the answer. You know the answer already. So any type of argument is gonna still be met with, yeah, but they lost. Going into any of those games, nobody thought Dallas was gonna beat the 49ers those 2 times. Nobody thought that.
I thought Dallas was gonna beat Green Bay.
Yeah, that certifiably, literally everybody had Dallas. Nobody had Green Bay except for the people in Green Bay. Going up against the 49ers twice, nobody thought they would be in the 49ers. Nobody thought it. So you could just throw that out the way. They faced a better team. Everybody.
I don't know about nobody thought that. I don't know.
Nobody thought they would be in the 49ers, bro. No, like nobody.
The year with Jimmy G, I just don't know. And in the year with Brock Purdy, I don't know. Like actually, both years, yeah.
That's like, just not true.
Where are we using this to say that nobody thought they were going to win that game?
Everybody knew 49ers were going to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Just because you're facing a better roster doesn't mean like everybody thought they were going to lose. Like I don't agree with that. And again, we saw it. They've had the teams.
Did you think they were going to beat the 49ers? You thought they were going to beat the 49ers? Be honest.
Probably in the year they had Jimmy G for sure.
You went into that game thinking they were going to win.
Yes, and I don't know how you're going to discredit me from saying that. That was like 3 years ago, and I don't even know we was doing this podcast. So, again, and I've been high on the Cowboys in some years. I think I had them as my Super Bowl contender last year before that when we went into the season started. So yeah, I actually definitely said that. So I've been high on the Cowboys in years, and we've seen them have the team. They had the teams. Like we saw it. They had the teams. They had the teams to do it. It's just Dak could not perform in the playoffs, and that's okay. That's fine. But
what team did they have that they lost to that they were better than? Tell me the teams that the roster that they were better than.
That does not mean they didn't have the team though.
Tell me the team that performed that they performed better than that they beat or they lost to, because they didn't.
Well, it's hard to perform better. It's hard to perform better as a team when you're playing when the quarterback is so essential to the outcome of a game and your quarterback's just a bit. Their defense played amazing in both games against the 49ers in the playoffs, but they could not get it done because of Dak Prescott. Like literally.
What team performed better? What team performed better throughout the year? The 49ers or the Cowboys?
We're talking about in the actual like the matchup, right? Or we talking about throughout the season? Because I mean, what was it? Let's look at the 49ers record in 2022. I don't think they. Wait, let me see. Was that 2022? Because I could have sworn it was like one of these years they won like 10-7 or something. 13-4. They lost. They played them in 2021, 2022. Yeah, they went 10-7, and I think this is the year they beat the Cowboys.
Your record that's what you're going to determine whether they perform well or not. Is that what
the Cowboys over the course of the regular season, over the course of the regular season in 2021, 2022, I would say the Cowboys just performed better than the 49ers. Yes, they did. Unless I'm looking at the wrong year.
I'm gonna leave it alone.
I mean, you wanted to use the regular season, and yes, they performed better. They did.
I mean, they didn't.
So yes, that was the year that the Cowboys I think were 12-5. The 49ers were 10-7, and we can look at lines. We can look at Vegas and see who was favorite. We can do all that. I don't think that were the 49ers favorite in that game.
I think it was a pick'em.
Okay, so if it's a pick'em, it's not really like again, and that's how the game was. It was a tight game. If Dak didn't play like dog shit, they would have advanced.
Right.
It's not
so
like
we're gonna start using Vegas to decide whether teams is good or not. If that we gonna make that.
I don't think it was some astronomical gap between the teams or nothing like that, or that far off at all. I mean, honestly, again, they would have won the game if Dak just didn't play like shit. That's all he has to do. It's not. I'm not like they have the teams to go further than what they are. Like they don't need Dak to carry them over the hump really at all. And like these last 3 seasons, they have not needed that. 2022, they didn't need that. 2023, they didn't need that. 2021, 2022, and then this past season, they did not need that. They just need Dak to not play like shit, and he just can't do that. But anyways,
or he's playing a better team and he's not a great quarterback. You know,
bro, they just needed
loses to the better team. That's usually
they needed him to play mediocre. That's what they needed him to do.
That's speaking in hindsight. You're speaking in hindsight because you know that when you watch the game, as you watching the game unfold, and you see it at the end, you realize, he didn't even have to play that well. But going into that, you're probably going to think he's going to have to perform very well to beat the 49ers, 13-14. Because that's what the 49ers were that year. They were 13-4. They weren't 10-7.
I don't know. I don't really see what the problem is with operating in hindsight because we're 2 years away from that now. It's like, why does it like even invalidate what I'm saying? The fact that we thought
your opinion going into the game is not going to match your opinion coming out of the game.
Duh, because we saw it happen. But Grant, that's not how we evaluate things. And we see that the defense plays well in both games. We're looking at Dak like you need to be just mediocre. All you gotta do is be good, and you can't. I mean, be average, and you can't even be average.
You have that answer. You only have that answer after the fact. You don't have that answer going into it. You don't.
I don't know why that matter. I don't know why that matter though. Like
why does that matter?
Because we're evaluating. Like, yeah, the claim is that the Cowboys didn't have the teams to go further than what they have been in the playoffs. And I'm looking back on it saying they did have the teams because they played well enough in these matchups to beat the 49ers or to beat the Packers, yet Dak consistently fell short in the playoff games, and that's why they haven't.
So if Dak fell short, doesn't that mean they didn't have the teams?
No.
Why not? Dak is part of the team. Yes or no?
Bro, they had the rosters, they had the teams to go past.
Is Dak part of the roster?
Yes, he's a part of the roster. That's like saying no. That's like saying let's say the Heat in 2011. They had the team, but LeBron fell short. They had the teams because LeBron, like, what the fuck? Like, what are we talking about?
That's not
different. That's not different.
I do disagree.
Bro. That is linear.
I do disagree, Q. I don't think I'm on the same level with you. I'm saying, like, if it's like the 49ers, are we saying like the 49ers are a great team, but like Brock Purdy, you know, is that like, am I getting at the right thing here? Like, the 49ers are a great team and you're trying to throw Brock Purdy in that. I'm like, no, I think that they, like, the reason they lost is because of Brock Purdy, but they're still a great team kind of thing. Like, if Brock Purdy could have been better at this point in time. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like the
I don't know where you're going with this.
49ers is the best roster in football besides quarterback position, correct?
Yes, or maybe not.
So, like, are you saying, like, I guess I'm like confused. So, like, if we say, or we talk about it, like, I guess what Latif's trying to say is, like,
the Celtics in 2022 had the team to win the championship. They had the team. They did, but Jason Tatum should have been. He didn't show up. They had the team, though. We knew that. They had the team.
Then they would have won.
No, that's not true. They had a team. They had a good enough team to win it. But they players shit the bed. Like, I don't know.
They weren't good enough.
Like, no, they ran into a more experienced team with vets, and their players didn't play up to. That don't mean they didn't have a good enough team to win.
They weren't good enough.
Especially since playoffs are matchup based. Like what are we doing?
Yeah, and they weren't good enough.
Like, the Cowboys had teams to go further in the playoffs. Dak just shit the bed, and that's why the blame is on him.
Wouldn't that be a matchup problem? You just said it. Wouldn't that be a matchup problem?
No, I don't think it's a matchup problem. We seen them shit the bed because we seen them shit the bed against more than the Cowboys. We just saw him against the Packers last year. It's just something about him when he gets into the playoffs. It's not there. It's just not there.
Or
it's not there.
What can't the Cowboys do on defense? Stop the run. What have they been getting? When they get in the playoffs, what has been happening?
What does that do offense? What does that do offense?
You saying that you bring up matchups? That's a matchup thing that literally.
That's on defense. That's on defense. Intuitive. That's
pick and choose because now I'm using
no. That's fine. And with their ability to not stop the run in those two matchups against the 49ers, they still held them from scoring a lot of points. And all they needed was for Dak to not be ass. So. Yes, they couldn't stop the run, but fine. They didn't let up enough points.
Good enough.
No, bro. They didn't not advance in those years because the team wasn't good enough. They didn't advance because Dak is not good enough. That's just what it is.
Dak part of the team. They're not.
Bro, I don't know why we act like we can't separate the teams all the time because we do the same thing. Like, LeBron was good enough in 2018 to win a championship. He was himself, but the team wasn't. And we can say the inverse in 2011. We can say the inverse in other years.
The team wasn't good. The team wasn't good enough.
Was the team good? Was the team good enough? Was the team good enough in 2011? What was the team good enough in 2011 to win a championship?
No, they
lost. Oh
lost.
My God. Okay. All right. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like a team can get upset. Like, it happens all the time. Like, the Miami Heat were good enough in 2011 to win a championship. LeBron shit the bed. And I'm a LeBron guy. He should have been, bro. It's okay. I don't even know why we doing that, but that's fine.
I never said it wasn't okay to say he should the bed. I never accused Dak of playing great in the playoffs. I never said that. I don't know why we're doing that.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm pushing back on the
weren't good enough. Unless you're saying he was the only one that played bad, which would be a lie. But it's not. They weren't good enough.
So if you play the
2011 team was good enough.
If you play the 2011 finals like 100 times over, did the Heat ever win?
Yes.
I literally can't answer that for you.
like I'm thinking, if Virginia plays UMBC 100 times over, are they good enough to beat them? Once.
I can't tell you that.
I could. Yes, they are good enough. They just lost that one game.
My fault, Genie. You got all the answers. I can't do that.
I'm just being honest.
I ain't that talented.
All right. But as far as a make or break season for the Cowboys, I understand what y'all saying and stuff like that, but it's like, if you flame out this year again, which they are, we know they definitely are. It's like, how do you in confidence pay these three players or pay Micah's
What other options do you have?
Like that. Well, that's the option that they might actually, we see it, they might do it. I don't know if that's smart, losing him that level of quarterback for nothing. But the only other way for them to really improve this team is through the draft. And again, they had the rosters. I don't know exactly what they need to do to get back to the actual Super Bowl contention, but this does feel like a season where it's like we need to evaluate the talent that we have on the roster and make a decision. So from that standpoint, I do think it's like this is gonna be the last season where we get to evaluate Ceedee, which they're gonna understand him. They already know they are. Dak and Micah, which he's, I think, 2 years away from ascension. So from that standpoint, for me, it is a make or break season, and that's why I asked the question.